The great hall of the Galactic Council buzzed with voices. Beings from 300 different worlds sat in curved rows that rose high toward the dome ceiling. Blue lights glowed softly along the pathways between seats. At the center of the hall stood a round platform where speakers could address the assembly. Ambassador Zix Tar of the Voldarian Confederacy walked slowly to the platform. His gray skin shimmered under the lights as his 4 arms performed the traditional greeting gesture. The hall grew quiet. "Esteemed colleagues," he began, his translator converting his clicking speech to the standard galactic language. "Our centennial review of developing civilizations brings troubling news. The species from Sol 3, the humans, have broken all our growth models." A murmur ran through the crowd. Many council members shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Zix Tar nodded to an aide, who projected a hologram above the platform. It showed a small blue planet, then zoomed out to display hundreds of ships moving between planets in the same system. 30 years ago, humans discovered faster-than-light travel. Our models predicted they would have perhaps 20 ships by now. He paused. They have over 500. The murmur grew louder. A tall, thin being with purple skin stood up. "That is impossible. No species advances that quickly without outside help." Zix Tar signaled for Council Analyst Krevan to join him. The small, gray-skinned being stepped forward, her 6 eyes blinking nervously. "The data is correct," she said softly. "We have triple-checked. There is no evidence of outside interference. Humans simply learn faster than any species we have encountered." Far away on the blue planet called Earth, Commander Alan Frost walked through the busy command center of Earth Defense Fleet headquarters. Screens on the walls showed the positions of Earth's ships throughout the solar system. Alan felt proud each time he saw them. Just 30 years ago, humans had been stuck in their own solar system. Now they were reaching for the stars. His communication device buzzed. The message was from Dr. Susan Clark, an old friend who studied alien cultures. Alan hadn't heard from her in months, so he stepped into a quiet room to read her message. "Alan, we need to talk. I've been monitoring Galactic Council transmissions. Earth is becoming a major topic of discussion, and not in a good way. Call me as soon as you can." Alan frowned. The Galactic Council had made contact with Earth 15 years ago. They had seemed friendly, if a bit distant. They shared some basic technology and established trade agreements, but always seemed to hold back. Susan had always said they were hiding something. Before he could call her, an alert flashed on his device. The U.S. Defender, Earth's newest warship, had disappeared during a routine patrol near Alpha Centauri. All attempts to contact it had failed. Alan quickly called the emergency response team, then hurried toward the situation room. As he walked, he remembered Susan's warning. Maybe she was right. Maybe the council wasn't as friendly as they pretended to be. In the situation room, officers huddled around a large display table showing the last known location of the Defender. "No distress signal, no debris field, no radiation signature," reported Officer Linda Parker. "It's like the ship simply vanished." Ellen studied the map. The Defender had been near the border of Council space, but still well within the area Earth ships were allowed to patrol. "Send the Dauntless and the Courage to the last known coordinates," Alan ordered. "Full alert status, weapons ready, and get me a secure line to Dr. Clark." As the officers rushed to carry out his orders, Alan stared at the map. If Susan was right, if the Galactic Council saw Earth as some kind of threat, the disappearance of the Defender might be just the beginning of something much worse. He only hoped they were prepared for whatever was coming. Ambassador Patricia Miller walked through the gleaming hallways of the Galactic Council station. For 2 years, she had served as Earth's first representative here. At first, other species had been curious and friendly. Now something had changed. As she passed a group of Xanthari diplomats, their conversation stopped. They looked away, avoiding eye contact with her. This had been happening more and more in the past week. Patricia entered the main dining hall where representatives from dozens of worlds gathered to eat and talk. She collected a tray of food suitable for humans, and looked for a place to sit. Most tables seemed suddenly full when she approached. She noticed a young Arcturian sitting alone. Ilovish was a junior diplomat who had always been kind to her. Patricia walked over. "May I join you?" she asked. Ilovish looked around nervously, his blue skin changing slightly to a darker shade. "Of course, Ambassador Miller." They ate quietly for a few minutes before Patricia spoke. "Everyone is acting strange lately. Did Earth do something wrong?" Ilovish leaned closer. "There was a closed meeting yesterday. Only senior members were allowed. They called it discussing the human problem." Patricia kept her face calm, but her heart beat faster. "What problem?" "I don't know details, but my supervisor came back very worried." Ilovish's voice dropped to a whisper. "Be careful, Patricia. Some of the elder species fear rapid change." Back on Earth, Dr. Susan Clark sat in her small office surrounded by screens. She had been studying alien languages and communications for years. Now she focused on breaking the encryption of council messages. Her computer beeped. A new decoded message appeared on her screen. She read it quickly, then reached for her communication device. Commander Alan Frost answered immediately. "Any news, Susan?" "Bad news," she said. "The Council has classified Earth as a potential hegemonizing threat. I've checked their historical records. Species with this label are usually restricted or contained." Alan's face grew serious. "The search teams found no sign of the Defender. 2 more ships have reported being followed by unknown vessels near Centauri space." "They're watching us, Alan. Preparing something." Alan nodded. "Keep decoding. I'll alert our defense network." On the council station, Patricia found a small electronic device in her private quarters. It was not human technology. Someone had been listening to her conversations. Instead of removing it, she left it in place. Let them listen to what she wanted them to hear. She needed better information. After careful planning, Patricia managed to place her own listening device in a service duct near the council's private chamber. That evening, she listened as several elder species gathered for an unofficial meeting. "Humans are developing too quickly," said a deep voice she recognized as belonging to High Counselor Drav. "Their technology already approaches 3rd level in some areas." "Their ships are appearing everywhere," said another voice. "Always exploring, always asking questions." "They defeated the Krell pirates last month," said a third voice. "The Krell have raided our borders for centuries, yet humans destroyed their main fleet in one battle. If this growth continues, humans could dominate this sector within 50 years, said Drav. "We must take preventive measures." "The containment proposal is ready," said another voice. "We will present it tomorrow." Patricia's hands shook as she turned off the receiver. She needed to warn Earth immediately, but a direct message would be detected. She wrote a simple trade report with a hidden message encoded within it and sent it through official channels. That night, commanders of Earth's fleet received emergency orders. Ships quietly changed positions. Research stations increased security. On Earth, key technologies and scientists were moved to protected locations. When the Council moved, Earth would be ready. In the darkness of space near Jupiter, something unusual happened. A small asteroid that had been floating peacefully for millions of years suddenly changed course. Then another, and another. Throughout the solar system, objects that were not asteroids at all began to move. The Galactic Council ship entered Earth orbit with great ceremony. It was huge and silver, shaped like a perfect sphere. Television stations around the world showed its arrival. The Council called it a goodwill visit, a chance to strengthen ties between Earth and the galactic community. Commander Alan Frost knew better. He stood at the landing pad with other military and political leaders, watching as the shuttle descended from the main ship. His face showed only polite interest, hiding his real thoughts. "Smile for the cameras, Commander," whispered Jane Sutton, Earth's defense minister. "Whatever they're really here for, we need time to prepare." The shuttle doors opened. 5 aliens walked out, led by Senior Inspector Kolath, a tall being with golden skin and 4 arms. Each arm ended in 7-fingered hands that moved with delicate precision. His large eyes blinked slowly as he surveyed the humans waiting for him. "We bring greetings from the Galactic Council," Kolath said through his translator. "We come to learn more about your wonderful civilization." Lieutenant Kevin Hayes stood at attention behind Commander Frost. As head of security for this visit, he watched every movement of the aliens. Their equipment had been scanned and approved, but something didn't feel right. The scanner readings showed normal diplomatic tools, but Kevin noticed the aliens handled them as if they were much more important. That night, while the alien delegation attended a formal dinner at the White House, Kevin reviewed the security footage. He zoomed in on a small device that one of the aliens had placed on a window ledge. The scanner had identified it as a simple air quality monitor, but why place it facing outward, toward the city, rather than inward to monitor the room? Kevin took out his personal scanner, one that Dr. Susan Clark had modified with technology not known to the Council. He slipped away from the dinner and found the device. His scanner showed different results. This was no air quality monitor. It was mapping the entire city, recording defense installations, power grids, and communication networks. He found similar devices in every room the delegation had visited. Kevin took pictures but left the devices in place. Better to let the aliens think their plan was working. The next morning, Kevin met with Commander Frost and Dr. Clark in a secure room that was regularly swept for listening devices. "They've placed scanning equipment everywhere," Kevin reported. "They're mapping our defenses, our infrastructure, everything." Dr. Clark nodded. "I've been monitoring their communications. They're sending encrypted data packets to ships waiting at the edge of our solar system." Commander Frost looked grim. "We need to know what they're planning." "Dr. Clark, can you decode their transmissions?" "Some of them. Their encryption is complex, but I've identified patterns. They're reporting that our technology is more advanced than they expected." Commander Frost made a decision. "We'll feed them carefully selected information. Let them see what we want them to see. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Hayes, I want you to stay close to these visitors. Gain their trust if possible." Kevin spent the next week escorting the alien delegation to carefully chosen facilities. They'd visited power plants that seemed important, but were actually backup systems. They toured military bases where older equipment was prominently displayed, while newer technologies remained hidden. One evening, the youngest alien of the delegation, Nixtor, seemed to be drinking too much at a reception. Kevin helped him back to his quarters. "Your people are kind," Nixtor said, his speech slightly slurred. "I don't understand why the elders fear you so much." Kevin kept his voice casual. "Fear us? Why would anyone fear humans?" Nixtor's eyes widened, realizing he had said too much. "No reason. Just a saying." But later that night, Dr. Clark intercepted a message from the delegation's ship to the Council. "Humans more dangerous than assessed. Technological development exceeds projections. Recommend immediate implementation of containment protocol." The message confirmed their worst fears. The Council wasn't just watching humanity. They were preparing to act against Earth. The Great Hall of the Galactic Council was divided. Hundreds of representatives argued loudly. Some stood at their seats, waving their arms or tentacles. Others pounded on tables. It was the most heated debate in 50 years. 3 clear groups had formed. The largest group, the Conservators, wanted immediate action against Earth. Their leader, Elder Zox of the Brindle Empire, stood at the speaking platform. "Humans must be contained now," he shouted. "Every day they grow stronger. Their ships explore too much, learn too much. They solve problems in years that took us centuries." Many voices shouted agreement. Elder Zox continued. "Our experts say humans will reach level 4 technology in less than 30 years. No species has ever advanced so quickly without destroying themselves or their neighbors. We must act for the safety of the galaxy." The second group, the Progressives, was smaller but equally passionate. Their spokesperson, Trelvok of the Nebulan Cluster, waited for the noise to die down before speaking. "The conservators speak from fear, not wisdom," she said. Her voice was calm but carried throughout the hall. "Humans have shown no aggression toward any peaceful species. They have shared medical advances that have saved lives on 12 worlds. They could be valuable allies if we treat them with respect." The third group, the pragmatists, nodded at some points from both sides. Their leader, Diplomatic Minister Quan, suggested a middle approach. "We need not destroy the humans nor embrace them fully," he said. "We can guide them, restrict certain technologies, keep them useful but contained." Ambassador Patricia Miller watched the debate from a small observation booth. Non-member species were not allowed on the main floor during emergency sessions. She recorded everything, sending encrypted updates to Earth when possible. She had managed to build friendships with several progressive members. They secretly shared information with her, warning of plans being made by the conservator faction. Back on Earth, Director Gregory Walsh of Earth Intelligence paced in his underground office. Reports from agents worldwide showed a disturbing pattern. 3 research facilities had experienced accidents in the past month. All 3 had been working on advanced propulsion systems. The coincidence was too perfect. Walsh called Commander Frost. "Our suspicions were right," Walsh said when Frost answered. "The Council isn't just watching us. They're actively working against us. The laboratory explosions weren't accidents." Frost's face darkened. "We've lost good people in those incidents." "There's more," Walsh continued. "The research vessel Horizon near Jupiter went silent this morning. Space Command reports an asteroid collision destroyed it." "No asteroid just happens to hit a ship," Frost said. "It was too deliberate." "Exactly. And our deep space telescopes have detected unusual movement at the edge of our solar system. Multiple objects changing course. I think the Council is positioning forces." Frost made a decision. "Activate Protocol Omega." Walsh's eyes widened. "Are you sure?" "Once we start." "We've prepared for this possibility for 10 years. Frost interrupted. "If we wait until they're fully in position, it will be too late." Throughout the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, hidden activity began. What appeared to be ordinary mining operations suddenly changed. Huge doors opened in the sides of asteroids, revealing ship bays. Vessels that no one outside the highest levels of Earth government knew existed powered up their engines. The hidden fleet had been built in secret, constructed inside hollowed-out asteroids. Earth had hoped these ships would never be needed. Now they represented humanity's best chance for survival. On the bridge of the command ship Defiance, hidden in the largest secret base, Commander Frost reviewed the deployment orders. 50 warships would take position throughout the solar system, remaining hidden until needed. Another 30 would move to protect key installations on Earth and its moon. "How long until all ships are in position?" Frost asked his second-in-command. 12 hours, sir." Frost nodded. "Let's hope that's enough time." Ambassador Patricia Miller walked quickly through the empty hallways of the Galactic Council station. It was late in the station's night cycle. Most beings were resting. She had received an urgent message from Trelvok, asking to meet in secret. The message contained only one line: "You are in great danger." Patricia entered a small garden area designed for meditation. The blue and purple plants gave off a soft glow. Trelvok was already there, hidden partially behind a large leafy bush. "Thank you for coming," Trelvok said softly. She looked around nervously. "We don't have much time." "What's happening?" Patricia asked. "The conservator faction has already acted without full council approval." Trelvok handed Patricia a small data device. "They have placed weapon platforms throughout your solar system." Patricia felt cold fear. Weapon platforms. 500 of them, disguised as scientific buoys. They were deployed months ago during regular trade missions. Trelvok's voice shook. "They are programmed to activate simultaneously, targeting your defense systems, power grids, and communication networks." "When?" 3 days from now. Once your planet is crippled, A peacekeeping force will enter your system to establish direct council control. Trelvok touched Patricia's hand. I believe this is wrong. Many of us do, but we were outvoted. Patricia clutched the data device. I need to warn Earth. Be careful. The conservators are watching you. If they discover I've warned you. Trelvok didn't finish the sentence. Back on Earth, Commander Frost and Lieutenant Hayes reviewed the emergency message from Ambassador Miller. The data device had contained the locations of hundreds of disguised weapon platforms scattered throughout Earth's solar system. How did we miss these? Hayes asked, staring at the map showing red dots everywhere from Earth orbit to beyond Pluto. They used standard trade ships to deploy them. We thought they were leaving navigation beacons. Frost studied the technical specifications. Each platform has enough firepower to destroy a small city or a large ship. Dr. Susan Clark joined them, her face pale from working through the night. I've analyzed their activation signals. They're designed to fire simultaneously. Our defense systems wouldn't have time to respond. Can we destroy them? Frost asked. Hayes shook his head. There are too many, and they're too spread out. Even with our hidden fleet, we couldn't hit them all before they activate. Dr. Clark touched the screen, enlarging the image of one platform. I might have a solution. These platforms use a specific quantum signature in their technology. It's different from our systems. She looked up. I believe we could create a modified electromagnetic pulse that would affect only their technology, not ours. How long would it take? Frost asked. At least 4 days to develop and deploy. Maybe 3 if we put every scientist on it. Frost looked grim. The platforms activate in 3 days. Then we need to buy time, Hayes said. Can Ambassador Miller delay the council somehow? On the council station, Patricia requested an emergency audience with the full council. This was a right rarely used by non-member species. The council could not refuse without violating their own laws. While Patricia prepared her speech, designed to create as much debate and delay as possible, Earth's scientists worked frantically. Military ships quietly positioned themselves near as many platforms as they could reach without being obvious. Dr. Clark hadn't slept in 30 hours. She stared at computer models, trying to perfect the pulse that would disable the alien weapons. Each test failed in some way. Either the pulse was too weak to affect the platforms, or it would also damage Earth's systems. We need more time, she told Commander Frost during a brief update. The math isn't working. Keep trying. Frost encouraged her. Ambassador Miller is doing her part. We need to do ours. In deep space, the Council peacekeeping fleet was already moving toward Earth. 50 large warships carrying thousands of troops. They expected to find a helpless planet, crippled by the surprise attack from the hidden platforms. Instead, they would find humanity ready and waiting. Something went wrong with the weapon platforms. They activated 12 hours early. Commander Frost was awakened by emergency alarms blaring throughout the command center. He rushed to the control room, where screens showed hundreds of the disguised platforms suddenly powering up all across the solar system. What happened? He demanded. Lieutenant Hayes looked up from his console. Programming error in their activation sequence. Someone on their side made a mistake. Dr. Clark burst into the room, still wearing the same clothes from yesterday. The pulse isn't ready. We need more time. We're out of time, Frost said. Deploy what you have. Now. Engineers rushed to activate the partial countermeasure Dr. Clark had developed. It wasn't fully tested or refined, but it was their only hope. Giant transmitters around Earth powered up, sending the modified electromagnetic pulse outward through the solar system. The effect wasn't perfect. Only about 60% of the platforms were disabled. The rest opened fire, targeting Earth's satellites, defense stations, and major cities. But the partial success of the pulse had an unexpected benefit. It made all the platforms visible to Earth's sensors, revealing their exact locations. The Hidden Fleet Commander Frost had positioned throughout the system immediately began targeting the active platforms. In orbit around Earth, the Space Defense Network activated. Energy shields that humanity had kept secret from the Council sprang into existence over major cities. The shields weren't perfect. Some weapons fire got through, but they prevented the total devastation the Council had planned. The peacekeeping fleet arrived at the edge of the solar system, expecting to find Earth defenseless. Instead, they found an active battle. Their hidden platforms were being destroyed one by ships that weren't supposed to exist. Admiral Dorn, commander of the Council fleet, stared at his tactical display in shock. How is this possible? Their defense capabilities are far beyond our intelligence reports. His second-in-command checked the data again. The humans must have been hiding their true technology level from our assessment teams. Order all ships forward, Dorn commanded. We still outnumber them. We can still accomplish our mission. The Council fleet accelerated toward Earth. They were large, powerful vessels, built by the most advanced shipyards in the galaxy. They had never been defeated in battle. Earth's defenders moved to intercept. The ships from the Hidden Fleet were smaller but faster. They darted between the larger Council vessels, firing precisely at weak points in their armor. On the bridge of the Defiance, Commander Frost watched the tactical display. "Activate the phase shift weapons," he ordered. A cheer went up from the crew. These weapons, developed in secret over the past 5 years, used principles unknown to Council science. They fired energy that existed partially out of normal space, allowing it to pass through standard shields as if they weren't there. The Council ship's defenses, the best in the galaxy, suddenly became almost useless. The first destroyer exploded in a ball of blue fire. Then another. The Council fleet began to pull back. Even more surprising to the Council forces was how Earth ships communicated. The Council used quantum entanglement for ship-to-ship messages, which had a slight delay. But Earth ships seemed to coordinate their attacks instantly, with no detectable communication signals at all. How are they doing this? Admiral Dorn demanded as another of his ships reported critical damage. Unknown to the Council, humans had discovered a communication method based on principles that Council scientists had deemed theoretically impossible. Dr. Clark called it in-space resonance. It allowed instant communication between any ships with the right equipment. After losing 12 major vessels in less than an hour, Admiral Dorn made a difficult decision. "Order all ships to retreat," he commanded. "We cannot win this battle today." As the Council fleet turned and accelerated away from Earth, celebrations broke out across human ships and ground control centers. They had survived the first attack, but everyone knew this was just the beginning. The news of Earth's unexpected defense and the Council fleet's retreat was already racing across the galaxy, and in the Great Hall of the Galactic Council, panic was about to begin. The Galactic Council emergency session was chaos. News of the failed attack on Earth spread through the Great Hall like wildfire. Species that had existed peacefully for thousands of years were now shouting at each other, demanding explanations. Some representatives were already leaving, rushing to protect their home systems. "How could humans defeat our best fleet?" demanded one counselor, his tentacles waving wildly. "They had technology we didn't know about," shouted another. Elder Zox tried to restore order. "Please, everyone, we must stay calm and—" "Calm," interrupted a Nebulan representative. "You led us into war with a species more powerful than you said. There is no time for calm." On dozens of worlds across the galaxy, leaders watched the reports with growing fear. Humans were supposed to be an easy target, a primitive species that needed to be controlled. Instead, they had revealed technologies that some elder species had believed impossible. The Volvarian Confederacy announced it was withdrawing all ships to protect its borders. The Xindi Alliance followed. Within hours, 28 member species had recalled their representatives from the Council. Ambassador Patricia Miller watched the panic from her office on the station. She had been placed under guard for her protection after the attack began. Now her guards had simply disappeared in the chaos. She used the opportunity to send a full report to Earth. Commander Frost, now leading Earth's combined fleet, received the report while overseeing repairs to damaged ships and stations. Despite their victory, Earth had suffered. 3 cities had been hit before the shields fully deployed. Thousands had died. The Council is falling apart, Frost told his officers after reading the report. Species are withdrawing to protect themselves. Are they planning another attack? Lieutenant Hayes asked. They're too frightened to coordinate anything right now, but that could change. Frost looked at the tactical display showing Earth's forces spread throughout the solar system. We need to send a clear message. After consulting with Earth's government, Frost drafted a broadcast that would be sent to every Council species. Meanwhile, Patricia Miller was quietly moved to a secure Earth facility through a hidden transport. From there, she would deliver the message. 12 hours later, on screens and communication devices across the galaxy, Patricia's face appeared. I speak for the people of Earth, she began. Her voice was calm but firm. The unprovoked attack on our world has ended. The Council fleet has retreated. The weapon platforms hidden in our system have been destroyed. She paused, letting the information sink in. Earth did not start this conflict. We sought peaceful relations with the galactic community, but we will defend ourselves when threatened. Behind her, images appeared showing Earth's fleet in defensive formation around the solar system. We do not seek revenge or conquest. We want only what every species wants, the right to develop in peace, to explore the stars, to trade and learn from others. Her expression hardened slightly. But we will no longer accept the authority of a council that tried to destroy us. The choice is yours. We offer equal standing and mutual respect, or no relationship at all. There is no third option. The broadcast ended. Throughout the galaxy, leaders of hundreds of worlds considered her words. Commander Frost watched from the bridge of the Defiance as Earth's fleet maintained its defensive positions. Every ship was on alert. Long-range sensors watched for any sign of approaching vessels. Do you think they'll try again? Hayes asked quietly. Some of them want to, Frost replied. But they're afraid now. And fear makes unity difficult. He looked at the display showing the positions of Council worlds. Many were thousands of light years away, separated by vast distances. Their unity had been built over centuries of careful diplomacy and shared interests. They've never faced a serious challenge before, Frost continued. They don't know how to respond when things don't go according to plan. Hayes nodded. So what happens next? Frost gazed at the stars visible through the ship's viewport. Now we wait to see who's brave enough to talk to the scary humans. 6 months passed since the attack on Earth. The solar system was quiet now. The last pieces of destroyed weapon platforms had been cleared away. Cities damaged in the attack were being rebuilt. Earth's fleet remained on alert, but had seen no hostile action. Then a message arrived. A delegation of 17 Council species wished to visit Earth to discuss a new relationship. They would come on an unarmed diplomatic vessel as a sign of good faith. Commander Frost, now Admiral Frost after his promotion, read the message carefully. What do you think, Dr. Clark? Is this a trick? Susan Clark had become Earth's top advisor on alien politics. She studied the list of species in the delegation. I don't think so. None of these are from the Conservator faction. Most are younger species that joined the Council in the last few hundred years. The elder species aren't coming. No, that's significant. These 17 are breaking ranks with the traditional power structure. 3 days later, the diplomatic ship arrived. It was smaller than expected and clearly built for speed rather than fighting. Earth allowed it to enter orbit under careful watch. The meeting took place in a newly built hall in Geneva. Admiral Frost, Dr. Clark, and other Earth leaders sat on one side of a large round table. The alien representatives sat on the other side. The leader of the delegation was Jalaver of the Kaltorian Republic, a species that had joined the Council only 80 years ago. She stood and bowed in the human manner. "We come seeking peace and a new beginning," she said. "The attack on Earth was wrong. Many of us opposed it but were outvoted." "What has changed?" asked Earth's president. "Everything," Jolliver replied. "The Council has existed for 12,000 years with the same power structure. The oldest species always led, and younger races followed. Your successful defense shattered that order." Another delegate, a tall being with crystalline skin, spoke next. "The elder races believed their age made them superior. Your technology proved otherwise. You accomplished in decades what took them millennia. We represent species that have often been ignored in Council decisions," Jolliver continued. "We propose a new interstellar community, one based on innovation and cooperation, not age and tradition." Over the next week, discussions continued. More species asked to join the talks. Even some former Council members who had withdrawn in fear now sent representatives. They watched from a distance at first, then gradually joined the conversations. Dr. Clark worked with the alien delegates to draft a new agreement. It would be called the Soul Accords in honor of Earth's star. The old Council laws would be replaced with a system that gave equal voice to all members, regardless of their age or technology level. 1 month later, a ceremony was held aboard the newly commissioned Earth diplomatic vessel Star Horizon. Representatives from 42 species gathered in the main hall. Earth's leaders stood side by side with beings from across the galaxy. Admiral Frost watched from the back of the room as each representative signed the agreement. Lieutenant Hayes stood beside him. "Did you ever imagine this when we were fighting for our lives 6 months ago?" Hayes asked quietly. Frost shook his head. "No. I thought we'd be alone for a long time. Instead, we've changed how the galaxy works." Dr. Clark joined them, smiling. "That's humanity's real strength. Not our weapons or technology, but our ability to adapt and offer new ideas." Ambassador Miller, who had returned to her diplomatic role, was the last to sign the agreement. As she finished, applause filled the room. Outside the large viewport, ships from dozens of worlds floated peacefully alongside Earth vessels. Stars shone in the distance, no longer seeming so hostile. Earth had earned its place in the galaxy not through conquest, but by standing firm and then offering friendship. The panic in the Galactic Council had led not to humanity's downfall, but to a new beginning. A more fair and dynamic community where rapid growth and new ideas were valued, not feared. The stars, it seemed, would welcome humanity after all.